There's so many different components to an advice and professional services firm. There's so many things that you can tweak and evolve. I've made it my life's journey figuring out all the different levers, experimenting, playing around, understanding brand and message, client engagement, fees, pricing, team recruitment, team building, interactions, value translation. Where do you start? That's often the question that I get asked. And it's kind of interesting because over the years of being obsessed with working with services firms, over the years of being obsessed in running my own, it's been a question that I've always put to the forefront. What is it that you start with? So what I'm going to say is this. The first things that I typically see when I'm looking inside a business, when I'm reviewing it, the first things that I see that are causing the most problems, the first things that I see that are causing the most problems that can then be changed, and this is the key issue here, that can be changed the easiest, that will then open the door to making other changes, is really what I call the foundations. So often I talk about the fact that advice and service businesses should be running well in excess of a 40% EBIT. And if we look at accounting firms or financial advice businesses, typically if the owners are getting paid a real salary for the time and energy they're bringing to the table, almost all of those businesses are running well below a 30% EBIT. Not all of them, but by far the vast majority. And the reason for this, in my experience, isn't what systems they're using, what technology they're using, how good their brand is, how good they're recruiting clients, what their referability factors are. These are all important considerations, but not for the first stage of profitability as we re-engineer businesses. So what is it that comes first? Number one, the thing that comes first is the value leverage. And what is the value leverage? It's how you've engaged your clients. It's how well you've set expectations. It's how well you've priced to the value that the client is experiencing. It's how well you've managed yourself as an advisor. It's how well you've managed the perception of your team, of the advisors within your team. We all have self-worth issues. We all have the fear of our own value. And one of the things that I love most about being in the business of advice is that you can see the change in your own awareness. Because every time you change that awareness, your value increases, the revenue changes, the numbers evolve. And I always get asked the question of, wow, how did you take that business from that was been around for 20 years? How did you get them to double their revenue in the space of a couple of years? Well, let's just say it's not by building a brand. It's not by doing all of these scalability issues. By the way, they all come later. The first step is getting you to understand your value and making sure you are translating it perfectly to the client. You see, for whatever denomination you are, whether it's a financial advisor and your background is retirement structuring and asset allocation and investments, or whether you're an accountant and you come from the compliance work and the P&Ls and the cash flow management and move into business advisory, whether you're a coach and business person, you're looking at the numbers within a firm. You see, all of these things are the technical components. And most of us spent our early stages of being in business being master technicians. And the problem is that the greatest value translation isn't from how good you are as a technician. That's just your ticket to the game. What really matters is how well you're engaging your clients, how much you understand your own value, how much you believe your own value, how to know how to be disciplined enough to control this. And when you use this properly in your engagement with clients, not only do you create far more value opportunities with them, not only are you able to command a higher price, but your clients will thank you more for it. They will have more impact and they will refer more. So always, to begin with, the foundations, as I've discovered it, is client engagement. is self-awareness, is understanding and translating perfectly your own value, but knowing how to translate it into what I call the emotional context of your individual client. And if you can do those things, everything changes. And it's only after that that you create the leverage within a professional services firm to start working on the other areas of profitability in a true and effective way. Systems, technology, process, mechanical issues, figuring out then how to scale what you've brought to the table, if that's what you choose to do. So if you want to know what you should work on first, I'd suggest looking in the mirror and asking yourself the question, what's the value I'm bringing to the table? And am I really charging properly for it? And am I really leaving stuff on the table for these clients? Or could I be doing so much more for both of us?